Have you ever looked at a situation, completely panicked, and thought, there is absolutely no way out of this?
I think everyone has had that moment. But then, somehow, you find a solution. You do something crazy, and it actually works.
Exactly. I'm Rose, and this is English Through Situations.
And I'm Jack. Today we are exploring a very famous English proverb through a lighthearted, everyday story.
It is a story about panic, creativity, and a piece of chewing gum.
We will see how one person turned a disaster into a success, and we will learn some great English phrases along the way. So, let's get started.
Before we analyze the language, let's listen to what happened.
The story involves a man named Toby. Toby was having a very good morning.
Well, it started as a good morning. Toby had a big job interview at 9 a.m. He woke up early, ironed his best shirt, and drank his coffee. He was feeling confident.
He left his apartment at 8:15 a.m. The office was only 20 minutes away. He had plenty of time. He walked down the street feeling great. He reached into his pocket to get his car keys.
And this is where the disaster happens. As he pulled his hand out of his pocket, the keys slipped.
They did not just fall on the ground. That would be too easy. They fell directly onto a metal street grate. You know, those metal bars covering the drainage holes on the side of the road.
Oh no, I hate walking over those. I always hold my phone tight.
Toby watched in horror as his keys bounced once, twice, and slipped right through the narrow gap between the metal bars.
He heard a small clink sound. The keys were gone. They were resting at the bottom of the drain, about 2 meters down.
It was 8:20 a.m. His car was parked right next to him, but he could not open it. He could not drive to his interview.
He looked around. There was nobody to help. He checked his phone. If he ordered a taxi now, it would take 15 minutes to arrive, and with morning traffic, he would be late for the interview.
He could not go back into his apartment because his house key was on the same key ring. He was completely locked out of his car and his home.
Most people would just give up. They would call the company, apologize, say they had an emergency, and cry a little bit.
But Toby remembered an old saying, "Where there's a will, there's a way." It means if you want something strongly enough, you will find a method to achieve it, even if it seems impossible.
Toby really wanted this job. He refused to be defeated by a street grate. So he looked at what he had.
He had his phone, a wallet, a pack of chewing gum, and his shoelaces.
He walked over to a nearby tree and broke off a long, thin branch. It was about 2 meters long.
Then he took out a piece of chewing gum. He chewed it quickly to make it sticky.
I can just imagine a man in a nice suit, standing on the street, furiously chewing gum.
Exactly. He took off his shoelace, tied it securely to the end of the long branch, and stuck the very sticky chewing gum to the other end of the shoelace.
He created a fishing rod, a chewing gum fishing rod.
He lay down on his stomach, right there on the dirty sidewalk in his clean interview suit. He slowly lowered the branch and the shoelace down into the dark grate.
He aimed for his keys. He pressed the gum against the metal key ring. He held his breath and waited 10 seconds for the gum to stick perfectly.
Then, very, very slowly, he pulled it up, inch by inch. If he pulled too fast, the keys would fall again.
He pulled it up, higher, higher, until his hand reached through the metal bars and grabbed the keys.
It was 8:32 a.m. He had a small dirt stain on his suit jacket, but he had his keys. He got into his car, drove to the interview, and arrived at 8:52 a.m., 8 minutes early.
And did he get the job?
He did. During the interview, the manager noticed the small dirt mark on his suit and asked what happened. Toby told the truth. The manager laughed and said, "We need problem solvers in this company."
I love this story. It perfectly demonstrates today's proverb. Where there's a will, there's a way.
It is such a common phrase in English. When someone is facing a huge obstacle, we often tell them this to encourage them.
Let's break it down. Will here does not mean the future tense. It means willpower. It means determination, desire, and mental strength.
And a way means a method, a solution, or a path forward.
So if your determination is strong enough, a solution exists. You just have to find it. Or invent it, like Toby did with his shoelace and gum.
Jack, do you think this proverb is always true? If you try hard enough, can you solve anything?
That is an interesting question. I think in everyday situations, yes. It teaches us not to quit immediately. Toby could have given up in the first 5 seconds.
Right. The easy choice was to quit. Calling a taxi would make him late. Going home was impossible. The logical brain says, it is over.
But the creative brain says, wait, I have a stick, a shoelace, and gum.
Have you ever used this kind of extreme problem-solving, Rose? Have you ever had a where there's a will, there's a way moment?
Actually, yes. A few years ago, I was traveling in a foreign country. I bought a beautiful bottle of wine for a friend's dinner party.
Let me guess. You forgot to bring a corkscrew to open it?
Exactly. We were at an Airbnb. It was late at night and the kitchen had 0 tools. No corkscrew, nothing. We really wanted to drink this wine, but it had a wooden cork.
So what did you do? You didn't break the bottle, did you?
No, I went online and searched how to open wine without a corkscrew. I found a crazy video. It said to put the bottom of the bottle inside a thick shoe, like a running shoe, and hit the shoe against the wall.
I have heard of this. The pressure forces the cork out slowly. Did it actually work?
It took 10 minutes of me banging a shoe against a wall. The neighbors probably thought I was crazy. But yes, slowly the cork came out enough for me to pull it with my hands. Where there's a will to drink wine, there's a way to open it.
That is a perfect example. It shows that sometimes the way is a little bit ridiculous. It doesn't have to be elegant. Toby, lying on the sidewalk in a nice suit, was not elegant. Banging a shoe on a wall is not elegant.
But it got the job done. I think that is a big part of learning English, too.
What do you mean?
Think about our learners. Sometimes you want to express a complex idea in English, but you do not know the exact vocabulary word. You feel stuck.
Yes. You feel like your words fell down a street grate.
Exactly. But if you really want to communicate, if the will is there, you will find a way. You will use simpler words. You will use your hands. You will give an example, or you will describe the object instead of naming it.
That is a brilliant connection. If you don't know the word corkscrew, you don't just stop talking. You say, the metal tool used to open a wine bottle. You found a way around the problem.
Yes, communication is the perfect example of where there's a will, there's a way.
But let me play the opposite side for a moment. Is there a time when having too much will is a bad thing?
You mean, when should a person actually just give up?
Yes, sometimes we push too hard for a solution when the best action is to stop, accept the situation, and walk away.
I agree. For example, if Toby dropped his keys into a rushing river instead of a grate, if he jumped into a dangerous river just to save his keys and go to an interview, that is not determination. That is just foolish.
Exactly. Or in the workplace. Let's talk about workplace drama for a second. Sometimes a project is completely failing. It is losing money, it is causing everyone stress, and it clearly will not work.
But the boss says, "Come on, team. Where there's a will, there's a way. Work through the weekend."
Yes! In that case, the proverb becomes toxic. It makes people feel guilty for failing, even when the situation is genuinely impossible to fix.
That is such a good point, Jack. We have to know the difference between a solvable problem and a dead end.
A dead end is a street that does not go anywhere. You have to turn around.
So how do we know the difference? How do we know when to use the chewing gum and when to just call a taxi and accept that we will be late?
I think it comes down to assessing the resources. Toby saw the stick, the shoelace, and the gum. He made a quick calculation. This will take 3 minutes to try. If it fails, I am in the exact same position.
Ah, the risk was low. If the gum didn't work, he would still be late. But the potential reward was high.
Exactly. But if trying the solution puts you in danger, or costs too much money, or hurts your mental health, like working 80 hours a week for a failing project, then it is a dead end.
I like that analysis. Where there's a will, there's a way is a tool for creativity, not a rule for suffering. All right, before we ask our viewers today's question, let's highlight some useful English vocabulary from this story.
This is our language focus section. We chose a few phrases that you can start using in your daily life immediately.
Let's start with the big one. Where there's a will, there's a way.
This is a proverb. You use it to encourage someone who is facing a difficult challenge.
Example, I know it seems impossible to learn 100 new words before the test, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Repeat after us. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Great. The second phrase is to be stuck.
In the story, Toby was stuck outside his car. To be stuck means you are unable to move forward, either physically or mentally.
You can be physically stuck in traffic, or you can be mentally stuck on a difficult math problem.
Example, I cannot finish this report. I am completely stuck.
Repeat after us. To be stuck.
Next phrase, to come up with. This is a phrasal verb.
It means to produce an idea, a plan, or a solution, especially when you are thinking hard. Toby came up with a plan to use his shoelace.
Example, we need to come up with a new marketing strategy by Monday.
Repeat after us. To come up with.
Our fourth phrase is the opposite of finding a solution. To give up.
To give up means to stop trying, to admit defeat. Toby almost gave up when he saw the keys at the bottom of the drain.
Example, learning English can be hard, but please do not give up.
Repeat after us. To give up.
Number 5, a clever solution.
Clever means smart, original, or creative. A clever solution is not the normal way of doing things, but it works perfectly.
Using a shoe to open a wine bottle is a very clever solution.
Example, she always finds clever solutions to difficult problems.
Repeat after us. A clever solution.
And our final phrase is an idiom, to think outside the box.
This means to think creatively, freely, and not stick to traditional rules. The box represents normal, standard thinking. When you think outside of it, you find unique ideas.
Example, if we want to beat the competition, we need to think outside the box.
Repeat after us. To think outside the box.
Now it is your turn. We want to hear from you.
We have all faced small daily disasters, like dropping something important or forgetting something crucial.
Think about a time when you were completely stuck, but you found a clever solution.
What is something you achieved because you simply refused to give up? Or, to make it fun, tell us about a time you had to think outside the box to fix a silly mistake.
Go down to the comments and write your answer in English.
You can start your sentence like this. Once, I was stuck because, but I found a way by.
Even if your grammar is not perfect, just try. Where there is a will to practice, there is a way to improve. So today, we followed the story of Toby and his chewing gum fishing rod.
We explored the meaning of where there's a will, there's a way, and discussed how determination can help us solve problems and learn languages.
We also learned some fantastic vocabulary like to come up with, to be stuck, and to think outside the box.
If this episode helped you think about English differently, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with a friend who might be stuck right now.
It really helps us create more content for you.
Thank you for spending your time with us today. You've been watching English Through Situations.
Real English, real situations, better conversations.
We will see you in the next episode. Keep practicing.
Wait, don't close the video just yet. If you are still listening, we have a special bonus section for you today.
That is right. We usually say goodbye here, but since today's proverb is all about problem solving, we decided to do a quick, real-life challenge.
I am a little bit nervous, but I am ready. How does this challenge work, Jack?
I am going to give you a terrible, stressful situation. You have 30 seconds to come up with a clever solution. You cannot just give up.
Okay, so I have to prove that where there is a will, there is a way. Bring it on!
Here is your situation. You are at the airport. You are standing at the check-in counter. Your flight boards in exactly 1 hour.
Okay, I am at the airport. I have 1 hour.
You reach into your bag and you realize you left your passport at the hotel.
Oh no, that is a nightmare. That is my biggest fear when traveling.
The hotel is a 45-minute drive away. If you take a taxi back to the hotel, it will take 45 minutes to get there and 45 minutes to return. That is 90 minutes.
Which means I would 100% miss my flight. The airplane would be in the sky without me.
Exactly. You are officially stuck. So, Rose, what do you do?
Well, the logical brain says cry and buy a new ticket for tomorrow. But I refuse to give up. I need to think outside the box.
Tick-tock. The clock is ticking. What is your clever solution?
I cannot physically go to the passport, so the passport has to come to me. I would step away from the counter and immediately call the hotel reception.
Okay, you call the hotel. Hello, front desk.
Hi, I just checked out of room 304. I left my passport in the safe. I am at the airport and my flight leaves in 1 hour. This is an emergency.
The receptionist says, "Yes, ma'am, I see it here, but we don't have a delivery service."
I would say, please, can you call a taxi, give the passport to the driver, and tell him to drive to Terminal 2 as fast as legally possible. I will pay the driver double the fare when he arrives.
You are bribing a taxi driver?
It is not a bribe, it is an emergency delivery fee. A new flight ticket would cost me $500. Paying a taxi driver $100 to race to the airport is a smart investment.
That is actually a brilliant answer. You delegated the problem. You found a way to bridge the distance without moving yourself.
Yes! Where there is a will to catch a flight, there is a way to get the passport.
I love it. You passed the test. Now it is your turn. Give me a situation.
Oh, I have a good one. This is a workplace drama situation. Are you ready?
I am ready. Hit me.
You are giving a massive presentation to the CEO of your company and 20 important clients. It is the biggest moment of your career.
Okay, pressure is high.
You walk to the front of the meeting room. You plug your laptop into the projector. You press the power button and your laptop screen goes completely black. It is dead.
Oh, the classic technology failure. Did I bring a backup USB drive?
Nope, you only saved the file on the laptop's desktop. The IT guy is on a lunch break. The CEO is staring at you, waiting for you to start. What do you do?
Wow, I am deeply stuck. If I cancel the meeting, I look unprofessional. If I panic, I lose their trust.
You have to come up with something fast. The room is totally silent.
First, I would take a deep breath. I would not apologize heavily. I would just smile and say, well, it seems my laptop decided to take an early weekend.
Nice. A little humor to break the tension. But you still don't have a presentation.
True, but I know this project. I spent weeks preparing for it. The slides were just pictures and bullet points. The real value is in my head.
So, what is your next move?
I would walk over to the whiteboard. I would say, technology is great when it works, but today, we are going to do this the old-fashioned way. Let me draw out the 3 main goals for you.
I like that. You are turning a failure into a confident performance.
Exactly. I would use markers, draw simple diagrams, and talk directly to the clients instead of looking at a screen. In fact, it might make the meeting more interactive and memorable.
That is a masterclass in thinking outside the box. You completely ignored the broken tool and used the environment around you.
Where there's a will to impress the CEO, there's a way to present without a laptop.
These examples perfectly show that giving up is a choice, not a rule. Sometimes the obstacle forces you to be more creative than you normally would be.
Absolutely. Toby's shoelace, your shoe opening a wine bottle, the taxi delivery, and the whiteboard presentation, they all share the same spirit.
If you focus on the problem, you feel stuck. If you focus on the tools you have right now, you find a way.
That is a wonderful final thought for our listeners today.
All right, now we are officially logging off. If you made it to the end of this bonus section, leave a comment with the word chewing gum, so we know you listened all the way through.
Thanks for your time, everyone. Keep practicing your English and remember to look for clever solutions in your daily life.
You've been watching English Through Situations.
See you next time.